Jason Fladlien and his mighty Viking beard.
Not nearly as big as it usually is, but heck, it's winter, so I'm getting it ready for the
There you
cold.
go. It's your sort of 2-minute origin story.
Yeah, sure. Basically, I was in the music business, and I'm like, how do I get people to actually buy my CDs? And so I said, okay, cool, let me research that. And I figured out there's this thing called marketing, which does allow you to helpfully, tell why your product is good and why they should spend money with you as opposed to other people. The problem with selling entertainment, I quickly found out, is you're selling to a very fickle market because what's hot today, like who could have predicted Gangnam Style would have taken over the United States, the whole world, everything, right? And so
Right.
I said, well, this sucks, but I want to make some money now. So maybe if I make all this money, I can pour it back into my music business. And I said, okay, this internet marketing thing seems super easy because I read a couple sales pages that said I could make $1 billion without even trying. I don't know if I believe that or not, but I'm willing to suspend disbelief just to try it. What I quickly found out is that it was very hard actually to do that. However, I became very obsessed with the ability of the psychology and being able to demonstrate value for a product and get people to buy something that's just originally a concept that you've transformed into something tangible that people would happily pay you a whole bunch of money for because they get a whole bunch more value from that. So this is really cool. So I became obsessed with it. I even found I loved it more than creating music, which was my biggest passion prior to marketing. And so I'm like, okay, great. Let me sell some products. Let me try this stuff. Everything I did, of course, failed, right? So I said, the only thing I can really do is create stuff. I can't get anybody to buy it, but I've gotten okay at creating it. Maybe I can get people to pay me to create content for them. Or in other words, do what's called ghostwriting. So
Mhm.
people would pay me money to write content for their blogs and their easing articles, accounts, and email autoresponders and all that stuff. I mean, I wrote from everything from microdermabrasion to buckwheat pillows and everything in between. And I made good money because I developed a process to write very fast. And so then one day I said, you know what? There's a product in this. And so I waited 7 more months to actually create that product. But when I did, this was in 2007, November of 2007, I did it.
All
I
right.
created this product. It's called How to Write an Article in 7 Minutes. And I sold it for 4 measly dollars on the Warrior Forum. And a lot of people bought it, and they really liked my style, which is funny because it was just like a couple-page ebook. People liked it, and they said, well, what else do you got? And I said, well, I've been creating info products for other people, so I can teach you that process. So I did that. And then I said, I've been creating sales copy for other people now, and I was like a very underpaid copywriter at the time. I mean, I did it for nothing, right? But I taught
Right.
people my sales letter processes, and they bought that. And then after that, like I had this huge following, so then I started teaching them some of the other strategies and things that I had developed from selling the first 3 products. And in the span of like it's like 5 years and 2 months, I went from that to a multi-million-dollar company per year of Rapid Crush Inc. So that's my origin story of where I came from. But prior to that, I was making $12 an hour painting houses, and I was living with my dad in a little 2-room apartment. So that's the span of 5 years and a month. That's what it can do for you.
Here's my affiliate link. Go buy Jason's 7-minute article because it's the fastest way to construct a script or what to say or get your point across so that people follow the process, right? How would you explain it, domain clout?
So
Absolutely.
domain cloud is a great, great little concept that's super hard for people to wrap around. And most commonly, the question that I get is this for real? And the challenges of like an online business, for example, is traditionally what do you need? You need a whole bunch of visitors, like thousands upon them. And you got to get that month in and month out, thousands upon thousands of visitors. That's a lot. In addition, you need a conversion mechanism. So not just visitors, but getting them to do something which results in you getting paid. And that usually requires advanced persuasion skills or methods and good products to promote or create yourself. How do you get them to love you so they can continue to come back and do stuff where you get paid over and over again and where you're providing obviously way more value than whatever they're doing to make you paid, right? These are very real challenges
Mhm.
that are hard for everybody, even seasoned marketers. So domain cloud is interesting in the fact is what we do is we teach people not how to get 1,000 visitors because you don't need them. If you got 1,000 visitors a year, you could be rich, okay? And at the same time, we don't need you to do anything super complicated and technical. Let's try not to play in an environment where everybody else is playing in. So like your traditional affiliate marketing, any product you see on ClickBank, I guarantee you if it's worth promoting, 5,000 people are promoting it, right? We invest in domains and we hand register them, it's called. We only take domains that anybody could register from a GoDaddy, a Namecheap, a Moniker, any domain registrar that exists in the world, right? These are domains that within a week or less you could turn around and sell for 200, 500, 1,000, in some cases 10,000 or even $20,000. So how many people do you need? Maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 people who might be interested in purchasing such a domain at a premium markup price. Method to contacting these people to say, hey, I got this thing, you might want to buy it. Let's do business, right?
Wait, is this for real?
Well, that part people don't really get because that's how I describe it now. In the past, I used to say, hey, we sell domains for thousands of dollars that we pay $10 for, right? And people be like, no, you don't. That's not true. Or maybe you've done it once or twice. Not like every single day almost between us and our domain Clout members, right? So that's the real big challenge because it's a very immature market. There's not a whole bunch of shrewd investors in it right now. If I'm paying $10 a domain and I buy 100 domains, I have $1,000 of inventory. Obviously, not every single domain that you purchase is going to sell, even if you know how to buy the right types of domains, which we can talk about. What makes a domain valuable so somebody would pay a huge markup for it? What if there was a way to minimize all risk so you could have premium domains already purchased that you could buy at cost and sell at whatever markup you wanted and keep all the profits yourself? You could give it back to us and be out nothing. Yeah.
Well, that's what. That. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I told you that, but that's what Domain Clout, when we make the offer at this end of this webinar training that we're doing, you probably already own domains that other people would pay a lot of money for. You're sitting on diamonds already, potentially, that you might be able to sell for profit. So even if you don't take me up on my special offer at the end, you're going to get value out of it. But hopefully I do my job well enough for you to at least test out Domain Clout for a month to get all those benefits, right?
Yeah, and there's the psychology, like you mentioned before, behind a purchase of this kind of domain.
Like, I'll give you a case study. One of our most successful domains, that the guy that does the training, his name is Gene Pinmantel. We're just the guts behind it, where we publish everything. We make sure that this unique offer we have runs, and he does the actual registering and all that stuff. So Gene sees this domain sell one day for 6 figures, because all Gene does for the last 9 years is study the domaining market from sunrise to sunset, right? He says, there's this domain, and the singular of it, because there was like a singular domain of it without a pluralness, sells for 6 figures. So he says, it couldn't possibly be that the plural, just adding an S onto the end of it, would be available, right? But, you know, he checks it anyway, and of course it is, because you would not believe how this happens every single day, where people will buy the singular of a domain and not even think to buy the plural. So in those cases, that makes sense. If you see this could be very valuable, then yeah, let's get the plural. So then he turns around and he sells it for $24,000, and he paid $8 for it. So the beautiful thing is this, I like to say this, article writers, and I used to be one, they make maybe $5 per 400 words. Copywriter, if they're any good, they make like $1,000 per 1,000 words. With this domain, Gene made $24,000 with one letter, the letter S, right? So that kind of puts it in perspective for you. So we'll actually reveal what that domain is on the training that we do on the webinar, that one that sold.
Wow. No, that's cool. And well, actually, speaking of the webinar, because I do have more questions, but since we're talking about it, the webinar is tomorrow at what time?
The webinar's already occurred because you're watching the recording or something. Then that link's automatically going to forward you to the replay. So that's, it's a little bit of goodness for you. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you're listening to this and there's a link for you to click it, okay? And it will take you to either to sign up for the webinar, or it will take you to a recording of the webinar.
Jason, for somebody who's first starting out in, I don't know, domaining or domain prospecting, or in this process, is there a tip that you can give them first starting out that can sort of get their head straight? Yeah,
absolutely. And it's called domaining technically, but I don't like to put a label on it so much more, so I just call this, like anything else, it's an opportunity. So like if it's YouTubing, like you're really good at, Zane, and there's a really easy opportunity for somebody to make a lot of money really fast without much effort, awesome. I don't care what it is. I'm interested, So that's why I would not urge people to put this in a box and think of it that way. But with that said, I will give you a tip. Most people, when they get into like flipping domains or selling domains, they have no idea of what does and doesn't sell. And so let me tell you the biggest thing. We only deal with .coms. Okay, if it's a .net, if it's a .mobi, if it's a .xxx even, unless I got ZaneMiller.xxx and I'm putting naked pictures of Zane on there and saying, hey, buy this from me to get rid of this, right? Then I'm not going to deal with it, okay? I'm only going to deal with .com. So people think that other things have value, and I'll give a somewhat PG-13 example of this I was reading this morning. Ass.com gets 1 million visitors. Yes, I know. Okay, it gets 1 million.
1 million visitors.
1 million visitors a year, where Ass.net, and this is type-in traffic, gets like 12,000 or 15,000, right?
Wow,
So that's the difference. So .coms are huge. So that's the first thing. The second thing is commercial intent. So we typically, when we go and look for domains, we'll use something as simple as the Google Keyword External tool, right? Mm-hmm. And we will type in a keyword phrase, like, say cake recipe, right? Then we will type that in there. We'll get 700 results, and we will organize them by CPC, which is cost per click. So we're interested in how many advertisers are willing to pay and how much are they willing to pay to get this keyword. So in Google AdWords, if somebody's paying $2 for, say, low-carb cake recipe, right? We'll say, gee, is this domain available? So we'll go look at lowcarbcakerecipe.com, and this is all hypothetical, of course, and lo and behold, if it's available, I want to register that. So for an $8 gamble, I will then be able to take that to every single person who's advertising for that keyword in Google and saying, hey, why don't you have the domain for this? If you're advertising for this, wouldn't it make sense for you to have this domain? So this tells me commercial intent. So we're not domainers like some people are domainers where they buy brand-based domains. Those are super highly speculative and they're super risky. Instead, we buy commercial intent stuff. So I only want to buy domains where people that are searching for those domains are going to probably pay money, already have credit card in hand and ready to go, right? So if I could say, like, bestcameradeals.com and get something like that, well, duh. The people who visit that are going to buy stuff, or they're hoping to buy stuff. And so there's people already trying to get them to buy stuff related to cameras. I want to sell it to one of those people. And so there's a whole bunch of benefits of having those domains. So what we teach people is to how do you tell somebody else these benefits. So type in traffic. People for a exact phrase, a lot of them, there's a whole bunch of type in traffic for that exact phrase match. So people will literally go and they look at the toolbar in their favorite browser as like, that's the search engine, right? So they'll type in cakerecipes.com, and they think they're searching, but they go directly to the website. Happens all the time. They call that type-in traffic. If you're advertising, your click-through rate is going to be largely predicated by the domain you use. So if you're using a Google AdWords and you type in low-carb cake recipe, and you see over on the right-hand side the list results, you're more likely, even though it's a third or fourth or even fifth position, to click on something with an exact phrase match in the domain itself than you would be even the first, second, third, or fourth. So you'll get higher click-throughs and you'll pay less as an advertiser. But beyond all of that, of course, is if you spent a whole bunch of money like creating this whole product and this whole brand around it, but you were dumb enough or you lapsed in judgment or didn't even think about to get the domain associated with it, and there's no trademark issue, then you want to buy it from me just because you're like, oops, I forgot, and you pay a penalty for forgetting, right? And that's what we charge, and that's what we sell for.
Okay. No, well, like a lot of the things that you said made sense of why I got hired to do some of the first video work I had ever done, because I was promoting the website xboxcheatcodes.com. And so everything I talked about on video with YouTube and everything like that always referenced xboxcheatcodes.com. I was Xbox Cheater. It weaved right in, and I mean we were stuck everywhere. But they paid $4,000 for that domain.
Oh, absolutely, and they got a deal because they got all your advertising you previously built. Now imagine this though, because when we talk about domaining, Zane, most often we sell domains with no websites attached to them, just the name alone, right?
Right.
So we don't even build a website. So a lot of people mistake it for site flipping. In my opinion, site flipping is great, but this is like almost the same types of profits you can get with the right domains without ever having to even build a site. If you build a site, it's just because you really want to and want to monetize the domain yourself. If you want to flip the domain, we don't even build a site. We just park it.
I love it. It sounds like there's a lot more information that you have in the actual webinar that's going to be tomorrow, today, whatever. Click the link, right?
Yeah.
Now, is this information that you're teaching tomorrow? Is it going to be easy to understand?
Well, I hope so. If it's not, I'm not doing my job correctly. So I'm one of the best at presenting kind of stuff like this and breaking it down and boiling it down. One of the reasons why Gene is not doing the presentation himself and I am doing it is because Gene's like a mad scientist. He does domaining for a living day in, day out, but he's not a professional presenter, or he's not used to teaching other people how to do this exact concept. So what I have to do is pull from his head all these complex, all these crazy things that he's really good at and simplify it so you don't have to spend 99% of the time that he does, but you can still get like 90% of the results that he gets. So you're not going to be as good as him, but you'll be pretty good with a whole lot less effort, right?
There you go.
So that's my job tomorrow. So come and see if I do my job or not. If I don't, call me out on it.
Man, he's right. Okay, I got nothing. Something to be said. Like, you've got this set up in such a way that if someone wanted to get started quickly, they could. So, I mean,
yes.
This guy who's teaching the content, like, he was a great case study. I mean, is there anybody else?
Yes. The beautiful thing is, like, if you end up signing up for the offer, Gene, what he does is he's got, at any given time, we have 500 domains in our inventory for you to sell and do whatever you want. So if you're like, ooh, I want this domain, I think I can sell it, you can buy it from us at cost. And then if you don't sell it within 10 days, we'll even take it back from you, right? So that's really cool. So whenever one is bought, we replace it with another one, because we actually have more than 500 domains on demand, but we always have 500 guaranteed for you to pick from, right? So the beautiful thing with this is you could literally sign up, grab a domain from us, sell it within a few hours, and this has happened before, and make money. And the beautiful thing is we track every domain that sells. And so we see domains being sold all the time. In some instances, we'll be able to ask the person, hey, what did you get out of that? And if they share it with us, then we put it on this like little ticker that shows the latest domains from our inventory that have been sold and what price. And so we've sold, between us, our members alone, hundreds of domains over the last couple years, just from what I know of, right? Much less as we also teach people how to buy their own domains, not just use our inventory. If they want to just use our inventory, they're great. But if not, they can buy their own and flip it that way too. So the idea here is you could really get results within a few hours if you're lucky. Typically, though, it's going to take you a little bit longer, but it's not unheard of to say something like, hey, you could get results in a very few days, less than a week. Whereas some of these other programs is going to take you a week just to read the instructions.
Let's get down to brass tacks. There's a little bit of a different offer here. There is the cost. I mean, you've got that over on the actual website, but tomorrow there's a little bit of a different offer.
Yes, and that's great. It's what I call the Costco method. So, like, if you don't realize this, Costco doesn't make their money selling you groceries. Costco is really the biggest membership site in the world. They make their money because you pay them a small fee, so that way you can then go in and get huge discounts. So what we do here is basically charge you a small fee to be able to get access to our domains, and this is a monthly fee. So as long as you're with us, you pay a monthly fee to be able to sell any and all domains that you want from our inventory and keep 100% of the profits and get those domains from us at cost. And keep in mind, a professional domainer has found and registered these domains, and these are the same domains that he himself would sell if he wanted to, right? And so basically, instead of carrying 500 domains that you would have to register yourself, which is a $5,000 overhead, which we carry, right? You pay us, the public pays us about $50 a month to get in on domain Clout. We're going to make a special offer for less than that. But even if it was the regular price, it's still an incredible deal because that's your risk. And again, if you grab a domain from us and you think you got a buyer on the line and he doesn't buy within 10 days, you give back to us. And so you never pay any pocket for domains. But in addition to that, I barely even scratched the surface. We give you a whole done-for-you website that you can set up. You push a button, you deploy the whole thing, and it'll give you a domain marketplace. So you can literally send people there and say, which of these domains do you want to buy? And then they reserve them, and then you sell them for you. Beyond all of that, we have probably 3-4 hours of training in there, from how to find buyers, how to sell buyers, how to do things like escrow, so you make sure that you get paid. Because when you're doing a $5,000-$10,000 deal, it's stupid to say, okay, I'll give you the domain and you give me the money, right? You don't do it like that. We teach you how to transfer these domains, how to be protected along the ways. We even teach you how to find your own domains and how to sell your own domains that you may already have in inventory. So that's the whole offer. We have a special offer tomorrow for the webinar. That's very limited time. Usually we do it we usually do like 3 or 4 days special offer, but because it's going to land on December 24th or 25th when it would normally expire, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make you take time away from your family to sign up before it expires. So we're actually going to make it expire on Sunday, midnight Pacific time. Actually, Sunday 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. So it's a very, very limited offer, only available until basically then, right?
Right. Well, and that was the biggest motivation for doing this, so that people could watch live and then have time to watch the replay and then go, oh, great, I got to click the link below and check out this webinar.
Yeah.
So,
By the way, Zane, completely brand new presentation. I've been writing it all week, so nobody's ever seen this before because this will be the first time we do it on this one here coming up tomorrow,
well,
Saturday.
I'm sure it'll do very, very well. I'm excited already. I don't have any questions. Looks like the live audience doesn't have any questions right now. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we go?
Not really. Just show up and show up prepared to take action. Actually, and this is something I see a lot when people go to these webinar trainings, Zane. They go there and say, let me watch something and learn something, and that's cool, right? Before I ever go to a webinar, and I go to a lot myself just as an attendee, I always say, this is what I want to do after watching this webinar. Here's my goal. So before I even enter the webinar and watch it, I already have a goal in mind of what I want to get out of it. And so that way, as soon as the webinar is over with, I immediately know what to do next. And that's it's a small little thing, but I think it makes a big difference in terms of like you plan to succeed. And so then, of course, you succeed, right?
I like that. I like that.
I'm good at this stuff.
You said you dabbled, right? A
little
while ago. Yeah. Okay. Well, excellent. You know what? Thank you very much, Jason, for being here. Everyone live, they're saying that they're loving it. Thank you for being here. And of course, if you're watching the replay, click the link below. It'll take you to the replay because you have a very short period of time to be able to actually jump on this offer, as well as learn what Jason is teaching, which is brand new, fresh out of the oven. So jump on it, get going. Again, it is called Domain Clout, and you need to jump on this because it's an excellent service that, well, I'm all about. So that said, thank you, Jason, again, and we'll see you later. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Zane. Bye.